This is Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shake your body.
Wake your fuck ass up. That crust out your eyes.
Muse with the political news on Sway in the morning.
All right, Mike Muse, good morning. Thank you for making
morning.
a special edition of your segment this morning, 37 minutes to the hour. We also have a special guest, Andrew Wilkow.
Wilkow.
Yeah, from the Patriot Channel here. And I just wanted to get both you guys' take on what you saw last night. All right, let's start with the Carly Fiorina.
Yes.
You know, Mike, you made a point last week. You said it might benefit her being in this the early debate, the one that was supposed to be less watched, less anticipated. Mm-hmm. She might be able to kind of carve a groove for herself and really introduce herself to the public. She's a businesswoman. She worked for IBM. Hewlett Packard. And to me, she's the one, in my opinion, who walked away doing the best in that, what did they call it, the happy hour debate?
The happy hour debate.
All right, now here she is right now. This is an excerpt from some of the things she said.
King Abdullah of Jordan, a man I've known for a long time, has been asking for bombs and materiel. We have not provided them. He has gone to China. That we also need to tear down the cyber walls that China is erecting, that Russia is erecting. We need to be very well aware of the fact that China and Russia are using technology to attack us.
You know, she also went in on Hillary Clinton like it was like Drake and Meek.
Oh, yeah. She was unafraid.
Yeah, she was unafraid. In your opinion, how did the first debate, who you think did well?
She won. Not only did she win the happy hour debate, but she won out of the evening primetime debate at 9 o'clock. She did such a great job in the 5 o'clock happy hour debate that they actually had to bring in a clip of her into the main stage and have the top 10 candidates actually respond to Carly Fiorina. That's signaling, saying you guys actually have some competition that you need to watch for. The reason why Carly is winning right now is because she brings in that business background. She has what I call that elevator pitch versus the soundbite. Mm-hmm. So as business people and have that business acumen, you have to make your points very succinct and persuasive, right? Mm-hmm. You have 30 seconds technically. But the soundbite is a little bit more gravitas, a little bit more theory, it's a little bit how I feel, and that's what politicals usually come from, the political class. Mm-hmm. But she's coming from the business class, and she has been a great person in the business community, in the business world, and she knows how to talk that language. And so she is the one to watch because she's clear and she is concise.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on the happy hour debate, and then how did Carly do overall?
Well, believe it or not, I don't disagree with anything Mike just said, so that's a whole new day.
Okay.
The Fox News poll had her winning by 82%. I mean, at that point, it wasn't even really a competition. She was the big fish in the little pond. So she's obviously going to go to the main stage for the next one, and I think you're going to see some of the main stage guys drop off, and I'm going to say the first one to go is going to probably be Kasich.
Yeah.
He got a little too drippy, the miracle thing,
those dudes look like mannequins up there to me. Like, I felt like they were regurgitating the same old
That's
spill.
why some of them are going to go back down to the second tier.
Yeah.
But that's why Trump wins, right? So the same reason why I say Fiorina is winning is the same way I feel Trump is winning, is because of what you're saying, Sway, in terms of mannequins, right? Like, Carly didn't sound like a normal political yesterday, right? And that's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear normal politics. America is angry for a lot of different reasons, right? And there's a lot of unrest in America for a lot of different reasons. And a lot of Americans feel whoever their political representative isn't doing enough for them. And so they're tired of hearing the same old saying, but they want a fresh voice, which is what Trump is offering. Trump also gives you the elevator pitch versus a soundbite. Although his elevator pitch is more piercing, nonetheless, it's definitely elevator pitch.
You know, Trump also, man, I mean, all eyes were on Trump. Let's just tell the truth last night. People wanted to see how he was going to react in that arena. How would he debate? What would he say about the issues? And one of the first questions that was raised was about him being a prospect to run against a Republican nominee in case he wasn't it. And he actually got booed from the crowd.
I cannot say I have to respect the person that if it's not me, the person that wins. If I do win and I'm leading by quite a bit, that's what I want to do. I can totally make that pledge. If I'm the nominee, I will pledge I will not run as an independent. But and I am discussing it with everybody, but I'm talking about a lot of leverage. We want to win, and we will win. But I want to win as the Republican. I want to run as the Republican nominee.
So tonight you can't say if another one of these.
This is what's wrong. I mean, This is what's wrong. He buys and sells politicians of all stripes. He's already,
Dr. Paul.
hey, look, he's already hedging his bet on the Clintons, okay? So if he doesn't run as a Republican, maybe he supports Clinton or maybe he runs as an independent.
Okay.
But I'd say that he's already hedging his bets because he's used to buying politicians.
Well, I've given him plenty of money.
Oh, damn. Hey, Donald Trump, man. That was Rand Paul responding to him. I want to come back and, Andrew, get your take on that comment that Donald Trump made. Does it hurt him with the Republican Party? We'll talk more about this and take your questions. 888-742-3345. Jay-Z, politics as usual.
Person that if it's not me, the person that wins. If I do win and I'm leading by quite a bit, that's what I want to do. I can totally make that pledge. If I'm the nominee, I will pledge I will not run as an independent. But and I am discussing it with everybody, but I'm talking about a lot of leverage. We want to win, and we will win. But I want to win as the Republican. I want to run as the Republican nominee.
That was Donald Trump implying if he didn't win a nomination for the Republican Party, he would probably run as an independent. He was saying that I wouldn't tell you I'm not going to do that. And he got a lot of boos, Andrew. Andrew Wilkow is here from the Patriot Channel. Does that hurt him with the Republican Party?
I think it's generally understood in both parties that if you're going to run, you're going to be a good sport and support the eventual nominee. So, yeah, I think it sounds like, upfront poor sportsmanship.
Okay, and then he also took a shot at Rosie O'Donnell. Does that hurt him with the Republican?
No. Okay. She couldn't be happier. Who are you kidding?
Okay, cool. What do you think?
It's important to point out, though, that the crowd that was booing is also the reason why Trump is winning. So the crowd that was actually in the arena is your establishment Republicans. Those are the ones who are donors. Those are the ones who have ties to all the politicals on stage. Those are the ones that got hookups to get tickets. So those are all the establishment candidates. The establishment candidates and the establishment Republicans don't like Donald. But it's that silent majority of those who are rebelling against the Republican Party who love Donald Trump. So what we're seeing, we have to understand the context of what the boos were.
Okay, so now there were also fireworks last night as New Jersey Governor Chris Christie went toe-to-toe with Senator Rand Paul on the proper role of government surveillance.
The ridiculous answer. I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megan?
Use the Fourth
What are you supposed
Amendment.
to? How are you supposed
Use
to?
the Fourth
No, I'll tell you
Amendment.
how you
Get a warrant.
Let me tell you something.
Get
you go
a judge to sign
when
a warrant.
Senator.
Go ahead, wait, Governor Christie, make your point.
Listen, Senator, when you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Here's the problem, Governor. You fundamentally misunderstand the Bill of Rights. Every time you did a case, you got a warrant from a judge. I'm talking about searches without warrants, indiscriminately of all Americans' records, and that's what I fought to end. I don't trust President Obama with our records. I know you gave him a big hug, and if you want to give him a big hug again, go right ahead.
Rand Paul was going for it, boy.
He was.
I actually was entertained by Rand Paul. Go ahead.
No, I was too. Rand Paul, if you guys have heard me talk for the last year, is that I've been on Rand Paul watch. And I think Rand Paul was the one to watch. Unfortunately, Rand Paul let me down yesterday. Rand Paul, all his negatives about Rand Paul, all the things that people were concerned about Rand Paul, all came out last night. Mm-hmm. Rand Paul is very sensitive. He has thin skin, and he's not afraid to bark. And when he barks, he gets unraveled, and he kind of loses focus on what his point is. And so I think he actually hurt himself yesterday.
Andrew, Governor Christie, why is he even running? Like, does he have a chance?
Well, I mean, early on he was the front runner a year ago. Then the whole bridge. I see. If they're going to say that brought him down, that's New Jersey. I mean, come on. There are worse things that go. They go on in New Jersey. But the question of does the government have the right to surveil us? This is a basic civil rights question.
Yeah.
And there's one side that says, don't worry, you can trust us. We're just doing this for your own good. The other side says it doesn't matter why you're doing it. We have the right to privacy, and you can't read our emails or our metadata and our phone records. And I think that's a big split in the Republican Party, libertarians versus the establishment. And I think Rand Paul's right. We have a Constitution and the Fourth Amendment, and we can't be violated by government.
Okay, that's Andrew Wilkow. We have also Mike Muse is here. I'm going to take your call, citizens. We got Sean on the line from Indiana. What are your thoughts on last night's debate?
I watched some of the debate. I had to go to bed to get up early, but the part I did watch, like I said, Donald Trump was being Donald Trump, and that's the part that's reason he's so high in the poll and the people are liking him. And the best thing I relate this to, which I tell my friends, is watch Brewster's Million. When Richard Pryor, when he ran for mayor, he just didn't give a damn. He said whatever was on his mind, and people related to that. And that's the thing with Donald Trump's doing. Yeah, he didn't answer a lot of questions, like, he dodged around it and stuff like that, but he was still Donald, and that was the main thing everybody was saying. As far as, Christie and Rand Paul going at it and everything else like that, Jen, that's what people want to see. They want to see the punches thrown. They want to see the hard questions, and they actually want to see where people just take the filter off and just like, let's go. Let's get these things out in the open instead of telling me what I want to hear, then 2 months later you tell somebody else what they want to hear.
Okay. Hey, man, thank you, Sean, for that comment. I think it's something that appeals to the general public about Donald Trump and exactly what he said. It feels like if you don't know the political jargon, if you're not quite up on the policies, he's like the layman's explanation of what's going on, right?
Absolutely.
And I think Carly had a bit of that too. Would y'all agree?
Well, yeah, that's coming from the business world. Herman Cain did the same thing. Herman Cain, if you're getting someone who understands how big things work but hasn't been part of the political class, they can look right at the people and say, I'm not part of the problem. I know how to fix things. Yeah. So that's the business world, like Mike said. It's the elevator thing. It's being able to pitch yourself to the people without sounding like, a stiff, boring politician.
We got Jessica on the line from Vermont. Good morning, Jessica. How you doing?
Hey, good morning.
I appreciate you waiting on hold.
No problem. Happy Friday.
Thank you. So what is your comment?
I just wanted to point out, it was just interesting to me that Ben Carson referenced useful idiots when he was referencing running against Hillary. And it's just interesting because useful idiots comes from Karl Marx. It's one of his, quotes. Karl Marx, the head of the KKK. So it was just interesting to see him reference a comment.
You said Karl Marx was the head of the KKK?
Correct. Yeah. So it was just sort of this racist, very right-wing term that he used. I think he used it to identify himself with the Republican Party. But it was just, to me, it was just sort of a turnoff. That and the fact that Donald Trump was up there, I couldn't take any of it seriously, to be honest.
Mike, Karl Marx is the head of the KKK?
No, that's incorrect.
Karl Marx was,
the communist.
The Communist Manifesto.
Party.
Yeah, Jessica, I don't think it's the same Karl Marx. But what about his comment, like, quoting Karl Marx?
Yeah, I think Carson actually came out looking bad. He had a chance to show himself in terms of a lot of Americans don't know who Dr. Carson is, and that was our chance for us to kind of get a preview of what he wanted. And he came off as whiny. He came off as a little bit complaining. He was kind of sad that he didn't get a chance to get enough time. He actually told Megyn Kelly, I thought you guys forgot about me, and so he came off looking not as prepared as the rest of them. And he also came out looking as if he didn't want to break through from the pack. And so what he was saying to me was really off.
Andrew.
He had the biggest following at CPAC when I was there. I mean, there were literally throngs of people following him around. And look, you can't have 10 people on the stage and give every single one of them the amount of time that they like. So, I can understand he was upset, but he did have the funny line about, I'm the only person on the stage who removed a half a brain. If you went to Washington, you'd think someone beat me to it. Yeah. So, he did have a good line, but you're right. We did not get to see the real intellect of Ben Carson last night.
Okay, we're going to take one more call. Duran is on the line from Florida. Good morning, Duran. How are you?
Hey, good morning, y'all. I watched it last night, and I got a couple of things. And they did not touch on the issues that is affecting the black community. As far as Dr. Ben Carson alluded to it about race, but they did not debate about police brutality. They did not debate about all this craziness that's going on in the black community as far as police brutality. And one more thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the Republican Party what a monster, their Frankenstein. They wish that he would go away, because bottom line is Donald Trump is going to turn. And I honestly believe that he is going to get the nomination, and he's going to turn his back on the Republican Party. And the Republican Party would not get into the White House. They would not get in there. I believe that with all my heart. I honestly, truly believe with all my heart
that Donald Trump is going to turn. All right, police brutality, which affects the entire community, and,
yes,
domestically, the relationship between law enforcement and its citizens that they are vowed to serve and protect, has been, a mainstay in the news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't that brought up?
Well, to be fair, Megyn Kelly did bring it up.
Okay.
Megyn Kelly did bring up the issue of Black Lives Matter, and she actually posed that question to Governor Scott Walker. It was right before a commercial break, and she asked Governor Scott Walker what is his thoughts on that. And Governor Scott Walker's response was he talked about law enforcement. He talked about it from the perspective of police training, and he gave great support to law enforcement. He did end his statement by saying, but there is a small portion of law enforcement where we have to look into more. So he really wasn't hard on it. There also wasn't any other follow-up questions to any other candidates. So it was almost as if it was just to throw it out there because we have to talk about it, but we don't want to talk about it. And as you were saying, race is an issue here in America, no matter if we want to accept it or not, the fact that it is, and it only is going to advance the conversation if we have both parties actually talking about it. Where Senator Rand Paul actually has spoke out about it, and he has talked about some of the issues that are evolving from the Black Lives Matter, right? In terms of recidivization, over sentencing, marijuana laws. There's a bunch of different things that he's actually advocating for that kind of resonates with what the Black Lives Matter movement is. But there was not enough conversation given towards that.
Okay, Andrew, in your opinion, after watching the debate, and we're seeing this class of candidates this year, what do you think the GOP needs to focus on? What do they need to talk about that they didn't do well last night as a whole?
Well, every time the establishment rams a candidate down the throat of the base of the party, they lose. Okay, it happens every time. When you look at the influence, the incoming influence of libertarians, like you just said, Rand Paul, that if we're going to discuss law enforcement issues, we have to discuss the law. Right? I mean, cops enforce the law. They answer to the civilian authority. So whether it's warrantless wiretapping or legalization of marijuana, you have to look at who makes the laws, who's in charge where, who are the mayors, who are the county executives, and you have to work from there. And Republicans need to adopt more libertarian views on these things, which is to say, we don't want police officers looking for people with a small amount of marijuana, and we're going to make it legal because there's nothing in the Constitution that says the federal government should be telling you can't smoke marijuana. So, but there is that fight. There is the traditional, establishment wing, just like there's an establishment wing of the Democrats who bragged about their cops programs in the 90s that think that the people need more control.
Yeah.
So, less government, more respect for civil liberties, get the government off people's backs and let them be within the framework of civil rights in the Constitution.
Okay, and thank you, Andrew. And have you ever smoked marijuana?
No.
Okay. All right.
Beer and bourbon's my thing.
Beer and bourbon?
Yeah.
That's your marijuana?
Yeah.
All right. Liquid marijuana. That's liquid purple. All right. Who you think, in closing, Mike Muse? Yeah. Who was the winner last night?
Carly Fiorina, hands down.
Second place? Huckabee?
Trump and Kasich.
Trump and Kasich?
Kasich?
Yep, Kasich.
I disagree on that one.
Kasich, I heard you say that earlier.
He's a little too schmaltzy for me.
I think he did a great job, though, explaining himself, again, from a very concise kind of perspective. He actually is opening up the tents more in terms of they're bringing more constituencies into the Republican base. He did a great statement about same-sex marriage. He did a great job talking about Medicare, and he came from it, Medicaid, I'm sorry, and he came from it from a very moral kind of positioning.
Yeah.
And so I think he has a chance to attract different independents into the Republican tent as well. I think, as Andrew was saying, there's so many different tenets of the Republican Party. There's a libertarian wing, there's an establishment wing, there's a moderate wing. I think we're going to know in the next couple of days when the next polls come out, if Donald Trump didn't go down in the polls, if he actually increases or if he stays the same, then we'll know the direction that the GOP primary is interested in. And I think they're going to go towards Donald.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Given her starting position, Carly Fiorina. I mean, she rocketed right out of there. So I think Carly was the overall winner, But I don't think anybody really screwed up last night. I mean, there were some things I didn't agree with. I think each candidate gave a good answer on certain specific things they were ready to give the answers on, but I didn't see a clear winner. I
think a clear loser, though, was Senator Lindsey Graham. I think that he...
was he even there?
Yeah, he was. He was in the happy hour debate.
Man. He's scary.
He's looking very scary.
I was hitting Mike Muse. He's an alien. I don't even think he's human. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming by. Andrew, thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
All right. People can hear you when and where?
Noon to 3 East, 9 to noon West, Sirius XM Patriot 125.
Mike Muse, they can talk to you directly if you got a question for them.
Yes, I am Mike Muse. I am Mike Muse, M-U-S-S-M-E on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And let me know who you think was a clear winner of the GOP debates.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have the beat. We got sports coming up next.
Absolutely, because we have another NFL player that's coming out.
58 minutes to the hour. Shade 4-5. Sway in the morning.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.